Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie Podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie. Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 275 of the Mistress Carrie Podcast. And before we get to this week's guest, Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills, I want to give you some details on Silver Scream Con 4. It's happening this weekend, September 12th, 13th, and 14th at the DCU Center Convention Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. The exhibit hours are from 5 to 10 p.m. on Friday, September 12th, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, September 13th, and from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday, September 14th. This year's concert for Silver Scream Con is happening inside the DCU Center Arena this Saturday night, September 13th. The show starts at 6:30, headlined by Ice Nine Kills. Dayseeker, A Loss for Words, Funeral Portrait, and Mest are also on the lineup. You can get the details and the link to get tickets to both the expo and the concert in the show notes of this episode. Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills returns for his fourth appearance on the Mistress Carrie Podcast. I'm so glad that he decided to come back, and especially back the week of Silver Scream Con 4. So allow me to reintroduce you to Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills. Mr. Spencer Charnas, I waited until you took a bite of your snack before I said hello to you.
See that? Actually, I was taking food out of my teeth that I was just eating, so that's even more attractive.
How are you? It's good to see you.
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm good. It looks like you're in yet another hotel.
Actually, a dressing room, but I guess that means we're doing well if my dressing room looks like a hotel.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It looks pretty good.
Our dressing rooms used to look like the La Quinta Inn, and now I think we've upgraded to Holiday Inn Express.
Look, it's getting better. Congratulations on the upgrade.
Thank you very much.
I got to ask, first of all, because the tour, Kim Dracula, everybody's okay. Bus fire is freaky.
Yeah, that was crazy. Super scary out of nowhere. But luckily, obviously it could have been so much worse. No one was hurt. And just glad that everyone's safe and they were able to continue the tour. So great.
It's got to be a fear for every touring musician. Like that's one of the things that everybody has to do is be on a tour bus. And the idea that it could catch on fire is so scary.
It's absolutely crazy. And we're just, by the time this airs, we're putting up a shirt where all the proceeds go to getting them some extra cash for all the stuff they lost.
You guys have always been really good about merch drops. You guys, Ice Nine Kills, when it comes to really cool merch, you guys do it right.
Thank you. Thank you. We pride ourselves on having a good merchandise, and the guy that designs he designs everything. So it's very cohesive, which I don't know if a lot of bands have one guy design everything. We work him ragged, but he's amazing. Mike Cortada.
A couple of things have happened since you and I spoke last, which was right around this time last year. You finally wrapped up touring with Metallica. Overall, what was that experience like for you?
Incredible. It's so hard to sum it up in only a few words, but I'm going to try. Metallica is a band I've always loved since I was a little kid. wanted to figure out how to play Master of Puppets on the guitar. My father took me to see them live in probably like 96, 97. And they've just always been that band that we've looked up to. And to be given an opportunity to even open one show with them or to play a festival on the same stage would have been like a bucket list thing. So the fact that they brought us all over the world for a few years is incredible. And their whole team and everyone in the band, everyone was just so nice and kind. And, they really changed our career. We've seen so many people come up to us and message us and post on socials that's how they found out about us. So it's like something that you dream of. I still can't believe it happened.
The other thing that I've been talking to everybody about, obviously, at first it was a celebration of Ozzy and Black Sabbath, and then obviously within a couple of weeks after the Back to the Beginning concert was the loss of the Prince of Darkness himself. I think it's impossible for anyone in this genre of music to not have been influenced by Sabbath and Ozzy and to have an Ozzy story. Do you have an Ozzy story?
I was lucky enough to meet him just a couple of years ago. My booking agent for conventions, horror conventions, and like the Comic-Con kind of world, Sean Clark, also represented the Osbournes. And I met Jack first. Jack started to do these conventions and became friendly with him. And then basically Jack, I think, went to Sean, or Sean went to Jack and said, I think Dad should do this. So my friend Sean started to put him at these conventions. And a couple years ago, they were doing one in Pasadena. I think it was one of the Monster Paloozas. It's this large convention in the Los Angeles area. And, Sean and Jack introduced me to Ozzy. And I had never met him before. And he was really nice, very kind. And for me, it was growing up and hearing about the bands that I idolized, like Metallica, seeing them talk about Ozzy. This is the guy that brought Metallica out on tour. This is the guy that influenced those bands, and those bands wouldn't exist without him. So I've always had always held him in very high regards, and was so sad to hear of his passing. But also, it's so great that concert happened. If he had died a couple of weeks earlier, that last hurrah wouldn't have been there. And I think it's so nice to know that before he died, all those people that he influenced, all those bands, all those fans, he got to see that one last time to remind him of how special he was.
It really is crazy. It's almost like being able to attend your own funeral, to be able to hear all the things that people thought about you while you're still alive is not something that most of us get to experience.
Oh, absolutely. And, I wasn't there, but friends of mine were, and the pictures and videos I've seen, whether it was on stage or backstage, he just looked like he was having the time of his life. And I never got to know him very well. Obviously, I only met him that one time, but even watching that show, you could tell he was a sweet person and a very caring man. And I've never heard a bad word about him except from that one bat. That's the only.
It is impossible to measure Sabbath and Ozzy's influence on the rock and metal genre. It's impossible to imagine where we would all be without them.
Right. I mean, if you compare, using like an analogy, he's like the Hitchcock to horror. He's the Hitchcock to metal. He was the one that, him and Black Sabbath, they wrote the blueprint for what this kind of music is. And how long their legacy has endured is just a testament to how creative they were. And I can't say enough good things about him and his music and his influence, and everyone just worshipped him. And it's really sad.
I was very surprised to see your new video. Not surprised that it was film influenced, obviously, but you are so closely associated with horror and gore and slasher movies that to see, I feel like it's a pivot for Ice Nine Kills with the Matrix references in the new video. Am I wrong to think it's a pivot?
No, I mean, it's definitely us trying something a little bit different. But, the video is obviously Matrix oriented, but the storyline that it's setting up with this new story arc that we've created is very much in the horror world. So it's sort of tongue in cheek, and it's sort of poking fun at, the record label guy in the video is this, the character's name is Jimmy Flay, and it's played by Terry Kaiser, who of course is Bernie Lomax from Weekend at Bernie's. And in the storyline, he's pushing the band to do something outside of horror, something more marketable. So it's a little bit of a step in a different direction, but it's all very, very Ice Nine Kills in the sense of it's very tongue in cheek. There's a comedic element, and it's still horror.
I talked to a lot of musicians and artists about where the seed for a song idea comes from. And a lot of the time they reference like a quick lyric or a riff, or they get some kind of melody that pops in their head. But are you inspired to write the songs based on a storyline idea? Because a lot of bands don't have that extra kind of stream of creativity to draw from the way that Ice Nine Kills does.
I think I take all of it into account, and sometimes it's a vocal melody, sometimes it's a guitar progression that I'll be playing around with, and it never happens just one way. And you can't really put a formula on it just because, if there was a formula to it, then everyone would write songs, right, and would make them good. So it just kind of falls out of the sky, honestly. It's weird to say, but if an idea kind of falls out of the sky, and then you tinker with it, and then it could, 3 weeks later be a completely different idea, but it was spurred from that little seed of creativity that I don't know where it comes from.
Is it getting easier or harder the longer the band is around?
I think for everyone, if you have some success, I think the harder part is, oh shit, can we top this? Every time we write a song, I'm like, shit, how are we going to make it better than the last one? But somehow, knock on wood, we've, at least in our eyes, we've managed to do it. So I think you just gotta write a lot of stuff, and not all of them are going to be winners, and you try to choose the best ones and have fun with it, because that's where, when we started to have success, is when we really started to have fun with it and write about these movies that we love.
As an opening act for a band like Metallica, you're given a very specific amount of time. You're given a stage that you can't control, in their case, in the round. So you're kind of limited on how you can express yourself visually. When you then go and do a headlining tour of your own, how excited are you for people that haven't seen this leg of the tour to see the production side that maybe someone that was exposed to the band on the Metallica tour didn't really get to experience?
Right. Yeah, it's a completely different world. It's like before the Metallica tour, the band, we would mainly headlining stuff. We would do a Slipknot tour here and there, or a tour with Falling in Reverse, but most of the time we're headlining. So we had that sort of like luxury of everyone there is there for us. Everyone knows every word, every song. They get the full production. So when you go to a Metallica tour and you're playing in the daylight, and you're playing on a theater in the round, and you don't have lights, and you don't have all these bells and whistles, it takes a little while to figure out how do we put forth our best representation of ourselves with these limited sort of resources. And it took us a little while to figure it out, but I think we really did. And it's very exciting. If someone liked us like that in such a bare bones setup, it's very exciting to think about them getting to see the real deal.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because you go on a tour like a Metallica tour, you're going to win over a ton of new fans. And now they're going to come and see you on your turf and get to experience all the other things that you guys do live.
Absolutely. It's like, if they like this, how are they not going to love that? So I hope that's what's happening. We see a lot of Metallica shirts at our shows now. We see a lot of shirts that we only sold at the Metallica shows, letting me know that a lot of these fans probably found out about us through that. And it was just amazing. It was just like one of those things where we're so lucky to get to do that. We've been lucky to play one show like that, but let alone like 40 all over the world opening for, one of the greatest bands of all time. And when we did 2 shows in Mexico City, and the second gig, Five Finger Death Punch, unfortunately had to cancel when someone got hurt in the band. So Metallica called us up and they were like, "Hey, you're gonna play direct support for us. You're gonna play an hour right before we play." So that one particular show in Mexico City, doing direct support for them when it was dark and we had the lights and the stadium was pretty much as full as it would later be for Metallica. That was like, holy hell, this is pretty goddamn cool.
I have to ask about this tour that you're on right now, because when you announced the dates, I scanned down all of them, and I noticed at first that there was no date around what would become Silver Scream Con because you hadn't made the announcement yet. When you announced that you were putting that show at the DCU Center, knowing that the band went from the Palladium to the Palladium outdoors, and now you're in the arena headlining where I saw my first concert ever, that date on your tour schedule has got to mean something huge for you.
Absolutely. When I was growing up in Massachusetts back then, in my day, it was called the Centrum.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was before. I saw the Family Values tour there in 98 with Korn and Limp Bizkit and Rammstein and Orgy. I saw Blink-182. So many amazing shows of these bands that I idolize. Those were sort of my first tastes of arena shows. So to be playing an arena show in our hometown at that specific venue, in Worcester, where I started the band, because I formed the band after a show at the Palladium, a Goldfinger show. It's incredible. It's so cool, and I can't wait. We're gonna have some really killer production that we're bringing out just for that one specific show. So if you're listening out there, you don't want to miss this one. And the Silver Scream Con is going to be incredible in and of itself. So many amazing guests, so many stars from these horror movies that we all love are going to be there. So it's going to be a great celebration.
Silver Scream Con in the Convention Center at the DCU is September 12th, 13th, and 14th. And then the concert in the arena is that Saturday night, the 13th. The list of celebrities, I feel like, for Silver Scream Con is getting better and better every year. I talked to Wolfgang Van Halen about the cool factor of Danny Trejo because he was in his video for the end. Mm-hmm. Is there a cooler guy on the planet than Danny Trejo?
He's pretty goddamn cool, man. He's all tatted up. He's a badass. I did a convention with him in Arizona a few years ago, and he took a few of my Twix. So I do have to talk to him about that. Well, I like to eat Twix at conventions, and I think there was a picture of him taking one. So it's Trejo, so I'm going to let it slide. But if it was anyone but him, there would be a problem.
Yeah, you kind of have to share them, even if you don't
Absolutely.
Want to. It's Danny Trejo.
And he ate the rapper, too. He's such a badass.
I'm surprised he even had to chew it, that it didn't just cower at the thought of being consumed by Danny Trejo and just melt.
He's so cool. And he's, he's versatile because obviously played a badass most of the time, but he's funny, man. He's so funny. I was just watching him in that Harold and Kumar Christmas movie that was, I think it was the third entry in that franchise, and he plays one of their father-in-laws or something. He's so funny. He's great. I can't wait. I can't wait for him to be there. He was supposed to be there last year, but he had to cancel for a movie, I believe. So it's great that he's coming this year.
We got to talk about some of the other celebrities that are going to be there, because Silver Scream Con is so much about music, but it's also, for anybody that's never been, this is the 4th year, it's also about bringing the whole kind of horror community together. And you've got people coming from everywhere that people would recognize in the movies they love.
Oh, absolutely. I know. And I got to give credit to The first horror convention I ever went to, which they had at the DCU Center for years, was Rock and Shock, and that was the first experience I ever had with conventions. So that sort of really sowed the seed, as they say. And I remember being able to meet these celebrities from these movies that I loved. Also, shout out to Spooky World, which of course, nothing's more Halloween and Massachusetts, New England than Spooky World. That also was a very fond experience I had from my childhood. Getting off the haunted hayride in Berlin, Mass, and being able to meet, people like Kane Hodder, who played Jason, and who will be at the Silver Scream Con. So all of this is very full circle, on both the musical side and the movie side. It's just great. So excited to do it. I've said to people recently, it's like having your own con. It's kind of like your own wedding. You can't really enjoy because you're going to be running around like a crazy person. But I'm so excited.
And you also bring out really cool vendors, not just me, thank you very much, but like last year was my first time being a vendor and kind of setting up and being able to walk around. People have really cool stuff.
Oh yeah. People are, that I've seen at our con that have booths are so creative. And that's just another thing that we like to celebrate and put on display. I know that when, before the band was super successful, we would have booths at these kind of conventions like Rock and Shock, and it was so much fun to get to, hustle, and I still love that hustle. It'll never leave me. So any way that we can, elevate these incredibly talented artists and give them a platform to, expose their talent to our fans is so cool. And it wouldn't be a cool con without them. You need the cool stuff to buy.
So as we get closer to the end of the year, obviously Halloween season, Ice Nine Kills season, Silver Scream Con 4, then we start getting into the holidays and the end of the year. What does 2026 look like for Ice Nine Kills? Because I know you well enough to know you're already neck deep in plans for next year.
Yeah, we're going to be releasing more music. I can't really say too much more than that, but some really exciting collaborations are in the works, both on the music front and the film front. Going to be working more on the movie that we have in development called The Slasher of the Christ, which is this really wild horror comedy that I co-wrote with Paul Soder from the Super Troopers Broken Lizard team. Shout out to the Super Troopers guys who are filming Super Troopers 3 right now in New England. And to connect it all back to what you were saying about Wolfgang, that video that you were talking about with Danny Trejo, and it was directed by Greg Nicotero, who of course is a legend in the horror and movie business. Helped co-create The Walking Dead and has done effects on everything from Pulp Fiction to all of Tarantino's films. He's producing our movie, The Slasher of the Christ.
Wolfgang told me how weird it feels to film those scenes that Nicotero was able to pull off where Wolfgang's talking to himself in multiple iterations and like fighting with himself and having it look real. But the filming of it, and you have so much experience with videos and movies and stuff, you got to feel kind of like an idiot when you're doing it in the moment.
Yeah, it's just, movie magic, and whether you're fighting an invisible creature that's, green screen and eventually will be, some hideous monster, or you're pretending to chop someone's arms off, or you're pretending to shoot a gun. It's all just, you get used to it, but it is a little bit, it reveals to you how much the post effects makes a difference. Everything from, VFX work to sound design. I mean, sound design is such a huge part of making movies and television. And I didn't really realize that until I was on the other side of the camera.
I love those videos that people put up and they replace the sound with something else just to show you exactly how important the sound of what you're listening to is.
Oh my God, yeah, music and they call it Foley. Foley is what they specialize in the specific kind of sound design. Everything from, if I was in a movie and I moved this case here and moved this AirPod case here, that's usually all replaced. And I never really thought about that. Footsteps, doors opening, doors creaking, the ruffling of your clothing. A lot of that is all done in post. So it's real art, and such meticulous details go into it.
Before I let you go, we got to talk about the bands that people can come and see you play with at the DCU Center for the big concert in the middle of the con. Dayseeker, A Loss for Words, The Funeral Portrait, and Mest. It just seems like a party for you guys with all of your friends on stage at the DCU that night.
Absolutely. Obviously, Dayseeker and Funeral Portrait, we've toured with several times. Really nice guys, great band. A Loss for Words, I grew up in the same scene as them, and they're from Massachusetts, and we played the WBCN or Battle of Bands. They would come play with us at VFWs and YMCA. So I've known Maddie and A Loss for Words for so long, so it's so cool to have them on board. And then another full circle thing is Mest. I talked about that show that I started the band after, was at the Palladium. And it was a Goldfinger and Mest show. So to be able to bring them in and have them come play on our stage is it's just another full circle moment. Very cool. We have the guys from Real Big Fish, one of our favorite ska punk bands, playing horns with us on this tour. So they'll be there. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be awesome.
You can get all the details on the con, on the convention, the concert, everything in the show notes of this episode. And it doesn't feel like this time of year unless I get you back on the show. So I appreciate you making the time.
Of course. Always for you. I love you.
And we'll see you at the DCU.
I will see you there. Don't be late. Get your tickets.
I'm going to be the one with the big giant skeleton in my booth again. So come and find me.
I love skeletons.
All right, we'll see you later, Spencer. Thank you.
All right, see you, sweetie. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay.
10 days.
Bye-bye. There he is, Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills. Well, he'll see me in a few days at Silver ScreamCon this weekend. The link to get info and tickets for the con and the link to get tickets to the concert are both in the show notes of this episode. You'll also find the links to all of Spencer's appearances on the Mistress Carrie Podcast, the link to this episode's corresponding playlist. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie Podcast that features all of my guest music and all the songs and artists that we referenced in the interview. You'll find Spencer's links, the Ice Nine Kills links, and of course, the Mistress Carrie links. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, comment, share, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie Podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Plus, every weekday, you get the Sit Rep. The Situation Report gives you all your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in about 5 minutes. And you never know when we're going to release a bonus episode. Join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern for my weekly streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. And you can always find me on the radio. Get the details on all of that and more at MistressCarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie Podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.